based on how you played from start to finish.
And this is tied specifically to your choices and maybe not on the amount of collectibles you cover.
Absolutely. No, the collectible stuff is, go to one of the sub-screens and you can look at your score, basically. I mean, I'm big on accomplishments, too, and so we've got our own little internal accomplishment system. But no, it's not driven at all by that. It is driven to some extent by your playstyle, but mostly it's driven by, how you decided to interact with the characters and how you thought their stories should turn out.
How do we unlock Oswald mode?
I think it's safe to say that sadly that is not an option, but I got it each one.
So how much creative freedom did you have when you were working with the Disney properties?
Wait, I'm sorry?
How much creative freedom did you have?
Way more than I expected. Holy cow! No, Disney's been great, and I think that's largely a result of a couple of things. One is they came to me. I didn't have to sell them on. I want to do a Mickey Mouse game, and I want to have them be drippy. I didn't have to do anything. Disney asked me if I wanted to do a Mickey Mouse game, and they had. It was really cute. I mean, I've said this before, but like they were just. We have a concept. Can we pitch it? Is it okay if we tell you our ideas? And I was like, dude, Disney, come on, there's some creative people here. And so they had a little presentation they gave that had 3 or 4 foundation elements that are still part of the game. They're saying, you don't have to do any of this. I was like, why would I not do that? It's genius. Of course I'm gonna. It's like they gave me an acorn, and the team grew it into an oak tree, right? So no, I didn't have a real tough time. The other thing was. I'll pat myself on the back and say, I was smart enough to realize that I couldn't just do whatever the heck I wanted with the most recognizable icon on planet Earth. So I early in the project said I want a Mickey steering committee made up of people from all different parts of the company, and together we're going to define what I call the creative box. One of the first things I do when I start any project is I create, sometimes it's a literal box, and I just sort of say to the team, hey, whatever you want to do inside this box is fine, but if you stray outside of that box, I'm going to push you back in. And this time I knew I had to collaborate with Disney to define the box.
Right.
And so some of you may have seen, possibly some new concept art.
I was going to ask about that. How much has the game changed over the course of its
Well, the game's changed a lot.
Right.
I mean, games change all the time. It's an iterative process. Of change, but what you do to define that box is you push too far. I tell the teams, when you think you've gone far enough, go 20% further, right? And so I made sure that we did that early on. Do some stuff that's so far out there, you force people to define the boundaries. So yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff that I didn't even expect it to work, So we defined where that box was, and as long as I stayed within it, and I was part of creating it, so it was fine. Everything worked out okay.
So are the 2D levels limited to cartoons that starred Mickey Mouse, or can we see some silly symphonies?
No, we didn't do any silly symphonies. That's an interesting question. Nobody's asked that. There are some Oswald cartoons. Mickey experiencing Oswald things. I thought that was kind of funny, even if no one else thinks it's funny. I do. Yeah, how does Mickey fare in an Oswald situation? So there's some of that. But this is Alpine Climbers from 1936. And if you go watch the cartoon, you will know where everything comes from, that's for sure. And some of them are black and white, some of them are color. There are lots of them in the game. Dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens.
What was your favorite Mickey game?
Castle Illusion, maybe? Mickey Mania, maybe? One of those two for sure. But, it's interesting, a lot of people ask me if I played them before we started working on this game. I played them as a gamer, just for fun, But I made a decision that I didn't want to play them before we started working, or while we were working on this, because I wanted the team to be able to just do, what we wanted to do. And I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and not be sort of prejudiced by that. I haven't played this in a while. Now, when we get done, I actually do want to go back and play this. See how subconsciously I was inspired by it,
Just don't put them in the fire dance.
No, that won't happen. That won't do it. Although, you're talking about how much the game changed. I had a whole subsystem in the game early on about Mickey and costumes that affect, what you can do and stuff. who knows, maybe that'll come back someday somewhere.
So do you have any plans for, like, could there be a sequel to this game?
Yes, there could be a sequel to this game. I don't do stuff that, just as a point of personal, interest. I have very little interest in working on anything that's like a one-shot. I mean, I want to do all sorts of Mickey games. I love Wasteland. There are all sorts of stories to tell. I love Oswald. I want to do Oswald games. I want to do, movies. We already talked about, actually, we announced recently, we're doing graphic novels and digicomics. Cool. We're working with Peter David, Eisner Award-winning comic writer. He is a super genius, man. That guy is amazing. So that's coming. We've already, if you go downstairs, you can see we've got a paintbrush nunchuck cover and a charger that is so cool. It makes me sick. I love it, and the collector's edition has a 5-inch limited edition vinyl Mickey, so there's plenty of stuff coming. I hope we do a lot more in this world.